Hello, my name is Samantha Liu, and my partner May and I are from Lewis Research in Melbourne, Australia. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of the Research Got Talent 2021 competition and to present our Courage to Care UPSTANDER program's scoping study submission. In this presentation, we'll be covering why we chose this social issue, who our not-for-profit Courage to Care is and their business problem, our research methodology, and the research learnings and impact on Courage to Care, the industry, and for us as young researchers. First off, why did we choose this topic? For our submission, we really wanted to find a new NGO that is actively involved and speaks to key pertinent social issues facing our community today. Diversity and anti-discrimination are topics close to home for May and I. We've been exposed to discrimination in many facets of our lives, and naturally we're not the only ones. As I'm sure you're all acutely aware, there's been a particular focus in the news recently about discrimination and bullying in workplaces, sport, and the wider community, including sexual harassment and assault, highlighted by the METOO movement and March for Justice, police discrimination and brutality, spotlight by Black Lives Matter and deaths in custody, and spikes in racist attacks in light of COVID through Stop Asian Hate. These have all highlighted that critical need to address issues of discrimination and bullying from the schoolyard to workplaces and the wider community to make a positive community-wide change. With this in mind, we've partnered up with Courage to Care Victoria, a not-for-profit on a mission to empower the community to stand against prejudice and discrimination by transforming bystander behaviour to positive action. They primarily do this through their UPSTANDER programs, which promote acceptance of diversity and equips participants with practical tools to take positive action. And this leads me on to their business opportunity and how we've been able to help.
Courage to Care is committed to offering our schools programs at no cost. Therefore, we have to build a sustainable economic model. A natural progression for us is to start to look at a fee-for-service offering into the workplaces, and that's why this research by Lewis is so important.
Courage to Care have been mainly running free volunteer-led programs to middle and secondary school students, but are now hoping to bring these programs into workplaces and the wider community through a fee-for-service model. This will enable sustainable reinvestment and thus expansion of the free student-based UPSTANDER program, and to facilitate the ability to expand these programs to workplaces in the form of cultural and professional training. Where we've been able to help Courage to Care is twofold. One, provide recommendations to optimise their communications, in particular their program description, with the aim to maximise awareness and take-up among corporate and government organisations. In this study, we really wanted to see whether a certain message hierarchy or proof points resonated more with this target audience. And two, determine the ideal price point for this fee-for-service model for this market. And now May will go through how we did this and what we found.
So to get started, we knew we needed to develop two program descriptions with some variation from the original so we could test new elements and languaging. To do this, we decided to implement the current description as a control and develop another version alongside Courage to Care, which we called the optimized description. The key differences between the two was that the control description was much more succinct and focused on introducing Courage to Care as an organisation, as well as explaining what the program was about. While we still kept these for the optimized description, we also explicitly added research around the benefits of inclusivity in the workplace, which highlighted things such as increased innovation, effectiveness, employee satisfaction, and increased retention compared to non-inclusive teams. Once we had our two descriptions, we were ready to test them with our target audience, which in this case was corporate and government decision makers who are responsible for training and development within their business. We used an online survey to do this and went out Australia-wide. In total, 478 decision makers took part in our research. We implemented an experimental design to do this, which randomly allocated half of the decision makers to the control description and the remaining half to the optimized description. After having read the descriptions they were allocated to, decision makers were asked a series of questions. This included their impressions of the description they have just read, and ultimately, therefore, about the program concept. We also asked sentiment, which we used emotional analytics to have a look at their text responses. We also conducted a metaphor elicitation exercise, which involved picking an image that respondents felt best represented how they felt about the description they just read. We conducted a highlighter task, which was where decision makers could highlight parts of the text that they felt were most appealing and least appealing, and also tell us why. And finally, we asked questions around consideration and take-up before ending with the Graeber-Granger price modelling task. So, what do we find? For both of our descriptions, there was overwhelming positivity, and this told us that people really understood what the program was about. So our text analytics showed strong positivity as well as strong sentiments of joy and secondary emotions there, which you can see around power and confidence, celebration, excitement and thrill, and optimism and engagement. Primary emotions of trust also came through, and the secondary emotions we can see there around certainty, relief and acceptance, and safety. Here are some of the things that people use to describe how the program made them feel. And these texts were analysed with our emotional analytics tool and grouped them into the primary emotions or themes, you could say, of joy and trust. Taking a look at metaphor elicitation, this is where decision makers picked an image that they felt best represented what they were just reading. You could see there that our messaging around unity, acceptance, and diversity really came through, and we could also start to see differences between the two descriptions and bolder emotions being felt. So following that, our highlighter task really showed us elements that were most appealing to decision makers, and these were statistics that highlighted benefits and relevance to organisations. This helped them form their business case as to why they should undertake this program. In addition to that, focus on education and transformation of behaviour, particularly bystander behaviour, also had great appeal. And this highlighted to us the appetite that organisations had for positive and action-orientated language. And to go alongside that, mentions of the engaging and collaborative workshops to consolidate learnings were also well received. So to the big issue for Courage to Care, how to price. And for the first time in my young researcher career, I learned how to set up and implement the Graeber-Granger price modelling. And we looked at the results for willingness to pay alongside willingness to take up to give Courage to Care this model here, which gives them a range of where to price to achieve a similar revenue. But we also considered something outside the brief, which was Courage to Care and their UPSTANDER program are new in the market. So for us, we actually recommended that Courage to Care price on the lower end of this range so that they can increase willingness to take up, but also accessibility for organisations. So those are the key things that we found.
When we started to seriously look at this, frankly, there was a lot of things we just didn't know. We didn't know what language to use, we didn't know who to really focus and pitch this at, and we didn't really know what pricing model to use. And being able to partner with Lewis has been vital because unless we have that sort of information, we just can't get focused, and we just really would be so inefficient and ineffective. So this has been a really important step forward for us.
We're really grateful for the opportunity that Research Got Talent provided us, that we could give Courage to Care a roadmap to set out on the right foot, and we can tell that the team appreciated it too. Here's what they had to say. And now back to Sam to tell you about what we learned.
Now to the impact of this experience as young researchers. The Research Got Talent competition has given us the opportunity to see how our research can be implemented to make a difference socially. It has also given us the opportunity to run a research program that uses a wide range of capabilities, both in terms of tools and people at Lewis, and a platform to really sink our teeth into methodologies we might not have experienced previously. And finally, this experience has given us exposure to the industry, both in Australia and globally. Thank you, SMR and ADIA, for this amazing opportunity. And on behalf of May and I, thank you so much for your time.